UFC 299 has just wrapped up, and what a card it was. Lived up to the hype, stacked from top to bottom, and it was good throughout. I'm going to give you my recap and review of every single fight, starting off with Joanne Wood versus Marina Moroz. And Joanne Wood, this was her very last fight, and she really showed her heart in this one. Winning by split decision, judges gave her the last 2 rounds. I mean, I didn't really pay too much attention to this fight, I'm going to be honest. Joanne Wood, good career. Moving on, Asu Amabaya versus CJ Vergara. I definitely had a look at this one. And Asu Amabaya completely dominated CJ Vergara from first round straight to the last, getting his back on multiple occasions. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get the sub, but he definitely showed his dominance in the takedown. CJ Vergara said that he shot so low that he couldn't get the underhooks in. And to me, that's crazy. But Asu Amabayev, well done on that one. Next up is the Rebellis de Spain fight versus Josh Parisian. This fight went exactly as I predicted. However, Rebellis didn't really impress me as much as I thought he would. He's very, very wild, and when he went in for the strikes, he ended up slipping. And a better heavyweight, a more accomplished heavyweight, they would have capitalized on that slip. And then Rebellis started backing up. I mean, fair play, this fight was just 18 seconds. Not much we can take away from it. Backing up, and he still managed to land a knockout blow on Josh Parisian. Is it Josh Parisian's chin? Maybe. But the Spain has definitely got some power. UFC got to be very careful because he's a star in the making, and we have no idea how high his ceiling is. But if they rush him into a fight against a higher level opponent too quickly, I don't know how well it's going to be for him. Let's build him up slowly. Rebellis of Spain, knockout in 18 seconds. Next up was the Michel Pereira versus Michael Polish dude, and it played off exactly how I thought, except the method of victory was slightly different. Michel Pereira showed off his power. He landed a great body shot inside the first round. I mean, the fight was just 1 round, but he landed a very, very clean body shot, hurting Polish dude, working his way down to the ground and sinking in a choke. Polish dude didn't even tap, but he went completely unconscious. Next up was the P break. Philippe Lenz versus Ian Cutelaba, and it was exactly what I thought it would be, a very boring fight to watch. Somewhat low-level light heavyweights, and I don't like to talk bad about fighters because they're dated fighters, but I really didn't get no money's worth for this fight. Philippe Lenz, he kind of controlled the entire fight. Cutelaba, in the first round, I believe he would have dropped him, but nothing enough to win the round. I believe Philippe Lenz won every single round. Moving on to a better fight. Kyler Phillips versus Pedro Munoz, and this fight definitely didn't go how I thought it would. Kyler Phillips dominated Pedro Munoz, and I thought Kyler Phillips would get tired with his style. He moves around a lot, and he landed some very clean strikes. Very, very close to getting a finish at one point, in my opinion. If it was a different fighter, Pedro Munoz may be unfinishable. Kyler Phillips, fair play to you. You impressed and you showed out tonight. Next up is Mateus Gamrot versus Rafael Dos Anjos, and it was an early scare for Gamrot, but he managed to pull it together, and wrestling reigned supreme. It's the lightweight division, and he seemed very, very one-dimensional. A higher-level fighter, they'll be able to beat Gamrot. I'm not seeing much improvements in his game ever since he joined the UFC, but some of you might be able to debate me on that in the comments down below. Next up was the Maycee Barber versus Caitlin Kaminara. However you pronounce Caitlin's name. She used to be Chukagan. It was a unanimous decision victory for Maycee Barber. It was a very boring fight, a lot of clinch work, a lot of cage control time for both women, a lot of takedowns, but No damage done whatsoever with it. Very hard fight to score, but the judges, sorry, ended up giving the rounds to Macy Barber. The second round was debatable to give to Caitlyn, but the first and third, Macy Barber definitely did enough to get it done. No complaints on that side. Next up would have been Curtis Blades versus Jonathan Almeida. Now, I must say I got this one right, but it was not nearly as impressive as I thought it would be. Jonathan Almeida in the first round absolutely smoked Curtis Blades. He kept getting mat returns, so every time he get a takedown, he'd keep the hands clasped, and as Curtis Blades gets back up, he'll take him straight back down. They counted it as 9 takedowns, and very, very impressive. Didn't really do much with the takedowns, had a couple of slams in there, but Curtis Blades kept his wits together and managed to get to the second round. When he reached the second round, Jonathan Almeida tried to do the exact same tactic in shooting for a takedown and trying to control the entire fight. When he shot for the takedown, Curtis Blades was very close to the cage, but he managed to sprawl, keep that top pressure on Jonathan Almeida, landed multiple hammer fists, and eventually Jonathan Almeida went out. What a performance by Curtis Blades. He wants to run it back with Tom Aspinall. We'll see how that goes. Next up would be the Petr Yan versus the Song Yadong or Yadong Song. And this was a very, very entertaining fight. Very competitive as well. Song Yadong managed to win the first round and everything looked all honky-dory and whatnot. But Petr Yan, being the champion that he is, he managed to pull it together, decode the puzzle that is Song Yadong, and control the second and third round, or do enough in the second and third round to win and win by unanimous decision. Next up is Jack Della Maddalena versus Gilbert Durinho Burns. And Gilbert Durinho Burns, he may have gotten the decision if it went to that. It could have been a split or unanimous because he was controlling Jack for a lot of the fight on the ground and landing some clean shots as well. But Jack Della, in the stand-up, he showed that there's levels to this. In the stand-up, Gilbert had no real chance. It's only when the grappling got involved, then you started to see a little bit more holes in Jack Della's game. However, Jack Della, not being on the same level jiu-jitsu as Gilbert, he still managed to avoid any real threat of submission. And in the end, in the round 3, while Gilbert was holding Jack Della in place, Jack did a very, very clean escape, getting the fight back standing, and Gilbert went straight in for another takedown, got caught with a knee, and he was on Queer Street at that point, and Jack, being an amazing finisher as he is, managed to put him away. Very, very nice performance by Jack Della. Way, way more impressive than I thought he was. Congrats. Next up would have been Michael Page versus Kevin Holland, and this was a very, very clean performance by Michael Page. Kevin Holland, granted, he didn't look the same, but Michael Page's style is so, so tricky, and Kevin Holland managed to figure that out firsthand, not being able to land much clean strikes in round 2. He managed to get a takedown, or managed to get the fight down to the ground, I should say. Not able to do much. He had the opportunity for a rear naked choke, but Michael Page stayed calm and he got out of it unscathed. Got the fight back standing, and Kevin Holland, to do what Michael Page did to Kevin Holland, not much people in the welterweight division can do that. He also came out as The Undertaker, so that was pretty cool. He's a showman for sure. Next up would have been Dustin the Diamond Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis, and this fight was all go from the opening bell. Jeez, these guys come to play. Dustin Poirier kept jumping for guillotines over and over and over again. None were successful, and all ended up in very, very compromising positions. However, Dustin Poirier managed to survive each and every single time. I believe it was like 4 guillotines. It became so bad that His coach told him to stop jumping guillotines, and then he did it again. But when the fight was standing, Benoit Saint-Denis kept pressure on, pushed him to the cage, and both of them were going at a slugfest, and Dustin clearly had better precision and more power behind his shots and put Benoit Saint-Denis out cold. Very, very impressive, and fair play to Dustin Poirier for stepping up against a guy ranked so much lower than himself. And last, but certainly not the least, is a main event. Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera. And, there's not much to say about this one. Again, I was wrong for this one. Marlon Vera looked like he had no business being in there with Sean O'Malley. Sean brought the fight to him in a shutout performance, winning every single round. One judge even gave a round a 10-8. I don't know which round it was. It doesn't matter. Marlon had no chance of winning anything. He couldn't get his shots off, and even in his best round, he still managed to lose. Jason Perillo, fair play to him. He gave some good advice, but Sugar Sean definitely showed that he is a force to be reckoned with. Right after the fight, he ended up calling Ilia Topuria. I know he was clamoring for this fight for a while. He wants to move up to 45, become the champion, and then come back down to 35. That's what he says his goal is. I don't know if he's going to pull through with it. I feel the UFC is now going to lean more towards him fighting Merab than him fighting Ilia. Both of them have to build their star up to become a much bigger fight. But with Sean O'Malley, very, very good performance. Anyways, that has been my recap for UFC 299. Be sure to leave a like. Comment what you think about UFC 299 and this video. Subscribe. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Twitter. And I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, game time.